Hello, welcome to a new Hello, welcome to a new episode of Eat This, Drink That with Ali, Steve, and Ryan. Let's rip right into it. Ali, what is your Eat This for today?
Well, I'm just this might kill it, but I gotta do it. I'm turning on a little fan. Can you still hear me over the fan?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Good.
Why do I have the fan on? I've got my grill pan that's been getting hot for 10 minutes. What am I doing with the grill pan?
What
Gentlemen,
are we doing?
I am going to make for you real deal, these are raw, chicken tikka. That's what we're doing today.
Yes.
I have a lot to say on this dish, but we also have some work to do. So we're just going to get right into it. So chicken tikka, Indian barbecue.
Wow.
You need a marinade. It's typically a yogurt marinade. It doesn't have to be. So yogurt, spices.
Plain yogurt.
That's my
yogurt?
oven telling me it's on too. Yeah, this is whole milk yogurt, plain, no blueberry, no vanilla, just plain yogurt. Spices. I'll talk about more of this in a second. You'll need a little salt. I've got a little ginger and garlic here, some lime, and I like a little green stuff. This is just some parsley that's from my garden, which I know I'm about to... If I told you I'm baking bread right now, I will have my brown person's card revoked. But yes, this is some herbs from the garden. Typically you use cilantro, but guess what? I just happen to have that stuff growing. So we're going to make this marinade. So first we're going to start off. And by the way, I'm just making this batch for myself. This is a ½ pound of cut up chicken tenders. A lot of wiser people will tell you use boneless, skinless chicken thighs because they stay juicier, but I'm like a moth to a flame. I, for some reason, want chicken breast to work, so that's what I'm doing. I've got about a ½ pound of chicken breast here. Now, we're going to start with our marinade. Got some of this full fat, plain yogurt, and I'm just going to add a tablespoon and another tablespoon of yogurt. Now, I will tell you guys something. As I have done this dish over the years, and full disclosure, I didn't grow up eating. This is what we call restaurant Indian food for some of us folk who are South Asian. So we didn't grow up eating this stuff. Half a lime going in, just squeezing it right in there. Nothing too crazy or fancy. Didn't grow up with this dish. Search the internet for a good version. It is loaded with wrongness. It's loaded with marinades that go way too heavy on the yogurt. It's dumb. I'm just going to add a little bit of ginger and garlic. I'm eyeballing it since it's such a small amount, a ½ pound of chicken. But, you know, I'm just going to go for what should be about ½ teaspoon. And I'll tell you already as I'm building this marinade, like, it's not a lot. This isn't going to be enough to submerge the meat. It's going to be more like a paste. And that's part of the epiphany I had. Now, we've got lime juice in here. We've got yogurt. We've got ginger and garlic. We're going to add some seasonings. Now, I am extremely fortunate to have gotten this from my boy Meherwan Irani. He's a James Beard, multiple nominated chef. We featured him on Cheap Eats. He's got a couple restaurants in the South that do Indian food. He's got a spice line. We're literally turning what should be a complex dish with lots of different spices into a 2-spice order. This is a tandoori masala, so think of this as a barbecue rub, but with Indian sensibilities, okay? I'm just going to start dumping some stuff in here. Again, for just 2 tablespoons of yogurt, I'm going to go for, you know, what should be almost equal parts spice to yogurt. So I'm kind of dumping right now, but imagine about a tablespoon. A tablespoon of this spice to 2 tablespoons of yogurt. And we could always tweak, just kind of going heavy here. And then the other spice, now this is a game changer. This is an absolute game changer when I got this. This is Kashmiri chili powder, okay? This is, not gonna find this, nor this spice at the grocery store. I highly recommend if you wanna make chicken tikka right. Seriously, it's a plug, but get yourself some Spice Walla. particularly for something like this. So you can buy this through the internet. Kashmiri chili powder. Think cayenne, but not as spicy. Not as spicy.
Okay.
And it's got an incredible, vibrant red color. So this is a color you could almost expect coming off annatto seed, stuff that makes al pastor red. So it's food coloring plus spice and flavor. And again,
Is it smoky?
You know, it's I wouldn't go far as to say it's smoked paprika-y. I will tell you, when you get the Spice Walla box, see these sizes of spice? It's not huge. So, and this is ground. You have less of an opportunity for the spice to go flat when it's not a large amount. If you go out to a restaurant supply store, it's very tempting. Get yourself a giant thing of cumin. I hope you use it, because in a year, it's not going to be good. You're better off spending more money on a small batch of spice and actually have it taste like something, because spices go flat. That's all there is to it. Check out the fireworks. I said that same line when I was on a Bobby Flay show, and I did a tandoori thing. And if you look here,
the legendary Bobby Flay
this
show.
is like barely. This is not like a yogurt marinade. This is a paste, almost equal parts.
Okay.
This is the epiphany I got. Because what I'm going for here, guys, is I want, and honestly, it's just a little light on amount, so I'm adding more yogurt, and I'm going to add a little more spice. What I'm doing here is two things. One, I'm going to taste it. I want to taste this. Instead of just relying on the measurement, it's just like salsa. It's just like a pesto. You can freeform it a little bit, taste it, see where you want it to go. And that's how I think people should approach Indian food. If you're like me and you go to the Indian restaurant, I will tell them I want it brown people spicy. One of my favorite kind of Indian restaurants are the Pakistani joints, because they have lots of meat, a lot of smoky meats from the tandoor oven, and it's just, frankly, a little more flavor forward. They're not shy with the spice. And the biggest problem I have with when you Google Indian recipes and they show like a chicken tikka thing, it's just like 2 cups of yogurt. Like way too much yogurt. You can't taste anything. And on top of that, all that yogurt, I'm just adding a little more spice here. All that yogurt is gonna like keep the flames from hitting the meat. It actually insulates it too much. So I've also seen some really interesting recipes. Madhur Jaffrey, legendary Indian cook from England. Nigella Lawson, Simon Majumdar. These are like the people, if you're Googling, land at their pages. They use way less dairy, and they're not even just using yogurt. I'm talking like heavy cream. Some people are using. A good buddy of mine, he does it with buttermilk. Like, it doesn't have to be this big old glob of yogurt. And this is the result, gentlemen. See that? That's freaking bright.
Okay.
And you know, at Indian restaurants, usually it's food coloring. Now, the only thing we haven't added in here is salt. You are going to need some salt.
While you're finishing the marinade, you mentioned your family never really cooked this dish at home. It was more of a restaurant dish.
Yes.
Why is that?
You know, I mean, part of it is not everybody's brown mom's a badass cook, A. B, it just speaks to the regionality of Indian food. So both my parents are from Bangladesh. Really, they grew up with a lot more fish curries, you know, a lot of vegetable stuff. Did I go to parties and they would have like yogurt marinated meats? For sure. But the art of tandoor cooking, first of all, nobody had a tandoor oven. So let's just get that out of here, right?
Yeah.
And just so people know, tandoor oven, imagine a vase with charcoal at the bottom. It gets very, very hot. We're talking 900 degrees, like in your face Neapolitan pizza oven, right? And they're literally, you're dropping the skewers in, and they're done in like just a few minutes, you know? So you are using a high temp heat. So this is the biggest thing.
What is the region? What's the region for tandoor ovens?
You know, and you got me, because I'm just tasted it, by the way. Salt's heavy, so I'm now just going to add a little lime to kind of cut it a little bit. From what I understand, and being a guy who's never really been to India proper, northern India the Mughal Empire, which ran India for a long time, they love meat. So, easy answer is this. If you're at an Indian restaurant that you're familiar with, they got the chicken tikka masala and all that stuff, they're probably using heavy northern Indian dishes. So from the north, for sure. Also, what I found, too, is this style of kebab, you can certainly find it in a country like Bangladesh, and it'll continue all the way west through the Middle East. The spices will reduce. Maybe there's yogurt in there, but the love of this skewer goes, I swear, from Greece through the Levant all the way through the South Asian continent. It's just the spice profile changes a bit. So, I like how this tastes. I like the color. What I encourage people to do, I'm gonna add a little more lemon, just because that salt's kicking in. But it's good because this is also gonna penetrate the meat. We're not eating the marinade. We're eating the meat that's in the marinade. I really do encourage people, when you're making this stuff, forget the recipe. Taste the marinade. And obviously taste it before you put the meat in. That's huge too. But get the marinade right.
That's one of the biggest things I've learned.
Right?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's one of I would not taste my stuff, and you know, people that have taught me well along the way, they're like, taste it while you're making it. You know, don't just go by recipes only. You know.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
I think we've mentioned that a lot on this show. You got to taste all your ingredients. Otherwise, I mean,
you're kind of flying blind.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
With the cocktails, with everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big theme of the show.
I'm gonna get my chicken in here. Okay. And
do you marinate before you skewer, or can you do it?
This is gonna. I'm not cooking this today. This is gonna get cooked tomorrow. Okay. Maybe even the next day. You know, it does remind me of an older episode where I did the carne asada. And, you know, I remember at the time, I'm just trying to like, I have a thing with raw chicken. I'm like, ugh, I don't want to touch it. It's like nuclear waste. I'm like, oh, God, get it away. Into the sink it goes. So the other day when we were doing the carne asada, the batch that I marinated for you guys, I cooked like 2 days later. Truth be told, didn't need it. It didn't need it. It didn't make it any better. So my new epiphany is overnight, all good. Overnight is all good. If you want strong flavors, put in more seasoning. Gentlemen, that's the chicken. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Super bright, all that. And there we go, you know? That's it. Shoot, I'll do it right now. I'll saran wrap this. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. A little bit of this herb. Now, how much flavor does this add?
Is that the fresh herb from your garden, Ali?
Yeah. After this, I am going to go to my sourdough baking party. But, yeah, you know, I just like the way the green looks. Also, too, these spices are strong. So having a little herby lift isn't your friend. I'll just say this, my little 101 about Indian food. It's spicy. It's well spiced. It's aromatic. It's all about building those layers of flavor. A lot of people, you know, will kind of be like, oh, Indian food's intimidating because it's complicated. It's complex. It's complex. And if you figure out ways, like finding a good spice rub to kind of cut out some of the work, marinating ahead. You know, like this is definitely not like I had an idea and we're doing a weeknight dinner thing. This is something that, you know, you can easily kind of incorporate into your next barbecue, you know, just,
back to the spices. Back to the spices. Spicewalla, do they do more than just Indian food? Because I always have trouble with spices. Grocery store spices.
They have a freaking everything bagel seasoning. They have, I mean, the dude hooked me up. He sent me with I have a jerk seasoning. Yeah, definitely check it out. Check out Spicewalla. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a lot of stuff that works with Indian cooking. But, you know, like, there's so many freaking spices in Indian food that from there you should be able to wax on other stuff. But, yo, I mean, I'll just say it straight up. It helps to have a rub, and it helps to not have a freaking giant bucket of it. Like, I love these amounts, too. And it's so funny. It's like an ad, but I'll tell you, if you're going to go to the trouble of doing this, marinating, trying to make Indian food, trying to like beat the Indian food takeout scam, right? That's my thing. Indian food takeout scam. It's a scam. It's overpriced, whatever. Invest in the spices. You need to do a little bit of investment in your spices and your time. But effort-wise, like, guys, you know, let's cook some skewers. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I'm just going to toss this in the fridge. Again, it's raw chicken. Skeeves me out.
Hey, back to that oven, the tandoori oven. Is that also how they cook naan?
Yes, in fact, and you know, India is an old country, an old culture. Some of the oldest elements of civilization. By the way, I just added a little bit of canola oil to a very warm pan. Hot pan, cold oil helps create non-stick. And
Cast
while
iron?
we're talking, I've got these. I marinated these last night. I'm just gonna pull them in and drop them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
And what kind of skewers are these, Ollie? Are these metal ones? Is it wood?
Dude, I swear to God, they're like a 99-cent store special. I like metal ones because they're reusable. They do get hot, especially if you're using a thing with the lid, a grill with the lid.
Yeah.
So you want to be cautious about that.
So these don't take that long. These won't be that long in the cast iron.
We are cooking chicken, and in chicken, there is only one way to cook it: hitting a bullseye. There's no red 20. There's no 5 black. There's only a bullseye. So what I'm doing, what I've had a lot of success with, is pan sear, oven finish. So I've got my oven I have a convection, so it's 375. It's probably like it's probably 350 to 375, right? It's supposed to be up to 400. Right. But what I'm doing is
moving around. I'm
searing the chicken on all the sides. Let it finish in the oven. These pieces were about, I want to say about a ½ inch. So for me too, and just a plug about chicken tenders, if you want to go the chicken breast route, I like chicken tenders because they're already cut up. You're going to get more even pieces than a boneless chicken breast, which will taper at the end. Try and cut them up in big chunks to your friend, because you'll have a little more wiggle room to get a nice char, but then using the oven, using a closed, an enclosed heat environment to just get that bullseye, to get that center.
Right.
So, so I'll tell you this too, since we're talking about the grill pan, or, I'm cooking them right now. I've cooked, obviously you guys know I love to cook on the charcoal grill and all that stuff. The problem is they can dry out, especially if you're using chicken breast. And I have found, like a burger, a grill pan, how burgers are just better on a cast iron because the juices don't fly out, they don't dry out. You have a better chance of these not drying out. And you add a little bit of that oil in there, and it just works, man. I mean, chicken breast is lean, adding that little fat layer helps promote a good sear. For me too, I found with the cast iron, set it on a low flame. That's on my biggest flame, but low, 10 minutes. It gets real even hot. Like, don't just crank it on high and expect it to be done in half the time. Go lower. For a longer time, you'll have an more even heat distribution.
Do you use the same pan to finish in the oven? Do you just take it off?
Hell yeah! That's the beauty of cast iron. Nice. It's oven proof. So I will literally turn them every few minutes, chuck them in the oven for just another couple minutes, and then we'll be good to go.
Awesome.
You trying to get a brown on them? Are you trying to get like an orangey brown or what?
Yeah. You know what? The timer's about to go off, so I will. How can I do this well here? With some tongs, methinks. I need a double. Hold on 1 second.
Yep.
That's how we're doing this.
That's funny.
It smells so good too. I have to tell you.
I rarely cook, but I made some chicken tenders last night, and
oh yeah.
Yeah, and I did a lower, I did a lower, longer cook, and because again, fear of drying out, right? You know, you get a chicken breast can be really dry.
That's
Ooh.
the char I
There we
got.
go.
Oh.
That's a nice char.
Yeah.
Nice brown.
And, I mean, it's basically, unlike a grill, I'm picking it up no problem, you know?
Okay.
So you're turning it, and then you're going to just throw it right in the oven?
I'm going to try and brown all the sides.
Okay.
Okay? That's kind of the key for me, is I want to get all those sides in there. I'm just going to get my last skewer.
What amount is your timer at? What are you timing?
You know, at first, I did it for 3 minutes. I'm also seeing that the color's coming on quickly. It's a very fine line because it's chicken breast is very lean. It's a lean protein. But you know, I want some of that char, and also like again, if you fear dry chicken, go for a thigh. You know, I know for me, I enjoy chicken. For some reason, I want to make chicken breast work like a moth to a flame.
Stubborn.
And also, the best part is this Tikka is freaking bomb. Straight up, it's great. I love it. But a big part of why I'm doing this for another episode is I'm gonna make chicken tikka masala. Spoiler alert, Steve.
Yes.
And so there's gonna be sauce in there too. Also, it's interesting to bring this up, but culturally, and it's changed in modern context, and I only know what I grew up with. But you're talking about a cuisine where the tendency is to cook the meat thoroughly. A lot of times you can go to a legit Indian, Pakistani joint, Bangladeshi joint, whatever, right? And you're like, oh, let me get that kebab. And you're like, it's seasoned, smoky, it's dry. The freaking meat is dry. Because, you know, and it's hard to use a sweeping thing because there's a modern India. Everything I understand is from many generations ago. You know what I mean? Like, you know, what my dad's generation, my mom's generation. But growing up, they didn't like red meat. They didn't like rare. Right. They like that. Right. They like that shit like cooked through. So when we went out, I was like, hang on, I need to check something here.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that Italian restaurants, and I'll go to very nice Italian restaurants, but every time I order steak at an Italian restaurant, it is overcooked.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it is a generational thing because, you know, most of those Italian restaurants.
There's probably more of a risk of getting sick back then.
Yeah. You know, there is something. I also think, too, there is a modern context of cooking that is a little bit more global. You know, the fact that, you know, you could have, like, Indian people making frickin' their food in Australia, and they're going to merge sensibilities, right? Like, I think, you know, like, I mean, I'm just going to say it for myself, growing up in America, like, I love medium rare and rare. Nah, but I will say, though, it's interesting. Some things work in certain ways. Like, I don't think a rare hamburger works. You know what I mean? It gets lost in the bun. So even in a case like this, like, you don't want it dry, but it can err on the side of more thoroughly cooked. You know what I mean? You want, you're getting other sources of flavor besides, like, some, you know, juice gushing cut of steak, you know? Or you know what? Skirt steak in a taco. Straight up. Yeah. I make skirt steaks medium rare, flank steaks medium rare all the time. It's almost better cooked medium because when I taste the steak, it's better on its own. It almost tastes like a waste in a tortilla with guac, you know what I mean? But there's something about it cooked through a little more lime juice. The texture is a little more firm. Kind of holds up. Yeah. It holds up amongst all that stuff. All right.
Hey, what's while you're cooking that? What's the traditional way of eating this dish?
You know, and you got me where you want me, Steve, because I am not the traditional guy. But look,
then what's your favorite way to eat?
Well, I'll just say this: like, you know, rice is such a staple. It's very hard not to have rice. At the same time, if we're just talking tikka, freaking naan bread and some raita, you know, like that's superb too.
What's that? What's raita?
So raita is like the yogurt sauce you get. So if you take yogurt, some cucumber, some tomato, a little bit of lime. It's just a nice kind of cooling condiment. But if you think about it, if you're cooking in the tandoor, you're probably cooking naan. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, we're firing up the grill. Let's use the grill for everything. So I would wager that, using naan is really good too. I don't want to.
Veggies? Are you having veggies with this, Ollie?
I know, sad but true. There's nothing on here. I have totally made this. I would say that great story. The other day, a friend of ours, her brother was in town. They're all originally from Kerala, India. And the brother was in town from Germany. The mom cooked for a week. And we showed up, and there was 7 dishes. So, really, the Indian feast, this would be, this feels special, right? This feels special. So ideally, this would be one component. You know what I mean? You wouldn't just go, oh, let me get... I'd love to get filled up on a big plate of this. But you'd have the tikka. You're probably having a plethora of curries. You know what I mean? So I think there's certainly the opportunity. I know for myself, and I'm wearing my little shirt because I'm feeling lean. I've been doing dry January, and I've been watching the carb intake.
Good.
Yeah, it feels good. Yeah. I have to admit, it does feel good. But
you look good.
I think, I would, cucumber and tomato is such a fine condiment with Indian food. I would totally do this with, I think there's a way where you could do a caprese with a paneer. You know what I mean? Something where you're just I feel like tomato-driven salad could be really nice,
Nice.
Yeah. Do you do the cucumber tomato with a little bit of yogurt and spices, or just cucumber and tomato?
That's the Raita. And to your point, a little toasted cumin, just a little. But remember, we brought it with this. You know what I mean? We brought it with this. So it's like naan. The naan's not going to be studded in any kind of spice or whatever, too.
Okay.
We are getting super close to where I would just pop this in the oven. And, the thing is, too, I'll let it go for a little bit more. You want to get a good char. We're not trying to make an Outback Sizzlers commercial here, too. I think grill marks, as a grill guy, I think grill marks are freaking overrated. You know what I mean? I'm looking for flavor. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not looking to sell a box of frozen hamburger patties with that fake freaking Sharpie I had a chef who was like, where are your grill marks? And I'm like, bro, I don't work at Ponderosa. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't care. Hatch marks, grill marks, shooting a deer, taking a selfie of it, not my world.
Aren't grill marks just burnt meat?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Let's be honest. Look, it's like sediment in wine. It's a sign of something happening, right? But I would also add that if you do a sear right, like this is, what do they say? This is sugars and carbohydrates interacting. This is flavor. But you don't want you don't want your entire bite to be that little nub. You know what I mean?
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm just tossing these guys around a little bit. I will. Yeah, man. Yeah, boys. There that is.
Awesome.
Teak. All right.
That is tikka.
That is tikka right there. It's just going to go in the oven. I'm going to give it 2 minutes. And then after 2 minutes, I'm going to check it with this, the God Thermapen.
Nice.
I remember telling Brearley, and for everyone who doesn't know, my wife, I wanted this for Christmas. She goes, that's all you want? You want a $70 thermometer? And I'm like, yeah. And guess what? 10 plus years later, it still works. This is probably one of the most respected cooking devices on the market. The only other thing is some old school dude who will be like, you just touch it. It's a rare. It's a done. Whatever. Good for that guy. I'm gonna use this. It's bomb. And that's it.
That's great. I was gonna ask you about that.
I have one of those, and then I have the the Pop, which is the little circle one with the probe from the same company.
Thermal works. Yep, I got a probe too. Very, very solid. My cable did go out on me. They did send me a new one, so good for them.
Yeah, same thing. They've sent me new ones twice.
Yeah, they do wear. I mean, what this is just a lock, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like when you're cooking things like chicken, where it's like everything's got to be a bullseye. In fact, on that.
What's the temperature for chicken? Is it like 165 or I'm going off of my memory bank?
There's a little bit of a mixed thought there. If it's chicken breast, now there's going to be what the USDA recommends. So I'm just going to tell you what I've read. It's not an endorsement about temperature, but Cooks Illustrated recommends chicken breast at 155, and they recommend chicken thigh at 165.
I've been making a lot of thigh. That's why I'm thinking of 165.
Yeah. I would tell you this, and I've been grilling meats for a long time for people. You'd be surprised what people actually serve in a restaurant. Because they don't like to play games. Especially when it's just chicken breast. So, like, honestly, I've served chicken at 180, and I was like, it's good. It's good. I have made chicken that sort of got, so we're at 148 there, 150. See, it doesn't, see, some of it, it's so weird. Some of them, you're like, oh, this looks really well charred, but let me kill this heat here.
Funny, I worked at a restaurant where someone sent a chicken dish back because it was undercooked. And the chef went off on the grill guy the entire night.
Yeah.
Like that was the most unacceptable thing you could ever do is send out raw chicken.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I mean, there's also nothing appetizing about it. I mean, look, there are Japanese restaurants, Koki Koko, I don't know if it's still around, in Little Tokyo that would serve medium rare yakitori chicken. Like there's a whole Steve's mouth froze. I mean, his jaw dropped. I thought we had a freeze. I literally thought we had a freeze.
Chicken freaks me out. I'll be honest. Chicken freaks me out.
I love it.
Well, have you gotten sick from it before?
No, I just.
Yeah.
This is some manufactured meat in the United States. Chicken.
Right.
Unless you find. A small farm. Wasn't there a butcher in LA called Lindy and Grundy? Lindy and Grundy would get
the two ladies.
Chickens.
Hey.
Yeah, and they would get these chickens that were farm, outside raised.
Yeah.
We got a dog.
Free range. We got Maximus in there.
Let's see.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, Maximus?
Oh, everyone's crowding in. Are you done? No?
No, everybody's
My
hungry.
kid backed away. He didn't want to.
Everybody's hungry. They can
nice,
smell
Ollie. This is and so let's differentiate though. We're talking about chicken tikka, and then there's chicken tikka masala.
Right. So chicken tikka masala is the more famous dish. That's the one where you would take exactly what's finishing off in my oven and then make it in basically a tomato cream sauce that we can get into this in a future episode. Legend has it, it's actually an invention from Glasgow, Scotland. So pretty far from India. Yeah, more of the...
well, I mean, I think tikka masala is isn't that the national dish of England?
Pretty much.
Right? So, yeah.
So before Taco Tuesday was adopted in the U.S., England was like, chicken tikka masala is our jam. By the way,
Tuesdays?
I found great recipes with dudes with British accents and Australian accents because they love. Indian food is Mexican food over there. What Mexican food is to the U.S., that's what Indian food is to the U.K.
I can't wait to try chicken tikka with the naan, almost like a pita with the raita. That's going to be my next dish.
I will tell you too. You could kind of. It is quite nice with bread. You know what I mean? I would also add to really good flour tortillas. You could use pita, naan. Oh, that's the beat. Let's check her out. So I will tell you guys, I cooked a couple of these, yes, so really superb color.
Wow.
And I think you get such superb color with certainly the spice, but with the cast iron. Climbing 147, 150, 151, 152. So basically, this is one of those things where it's pretty much done. Yeah, some of these pieces are super done. You know, there's a little bit of like, they spike here and there. Some of them are different sizes than others. But what I'm going to do is just let it, I'm killing everything. And I'm just going to let, you can hear the sizzle now. I'm just going to let these sit in this hot pan. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And they're done. They're done. I mean, they're small pieces, half-inch each. Doesn't take forever. Yeah, it's great. Cheap, too. I mean, I didn't use Steve's hardcore chicken. It wasn't the worst. I didn't buy that giant. It's kind of gross how cheap chicken is.
Yeah,
you know?
I know, and I'm not ragging on just picking up grocery store chicken. I'm just saying that chicken freaks me out a little bit. That's it.
I understand. It is a sponge for flavor, though. And if you want to talk about you finding a good reason to eat chicken, curry for sure, or Indian.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice, killer. Ollie, how are we doing on this episode? Are we wrapping up here? Or
Gents,
what do you got going?
We're pretty much good to go. I mean, I'd love to sit here and try one of these with you. I am going to let it cool a bit so it doesn't burn my mouth, but I also have some plans for these, so.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think you brought up a point too, like you were measuring it, but I think a part of cooking, and please explain further if I'm off here, but is letting the meat sort of rest
100%.
and self-cook after you're done, right? There's an aspect to that. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely. I think too, like, you know, you don't want to burn your mouth, and part of that that's pain, but also like those flavors, especially these aromatics, right? These spices. I mean, those bright colors, like they're going to continue to perfume the meat. They perfume the room right now, my kitchen and stuff. And you can let that sit, you know? It's funny. Way back in the day, a friend of mine was like eating some curry I made. And he's like, it was from like last week. And he goes, dude, you're feeding me food a week old? And I'm like, bro, this is curry. You know, when you were suffering before refrigeration in swampy old India, this is how folks survive. So I'm gonna just say this, like, you know, this is some things. As soon as the sushi is put down, you put in your mouth. We can chill a little bit with the tikka. Just let it hang for a sec, for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. You know. Right.
Well, this was awesome, Ali. I can't wait to try this.
And
buy the spices from Spice Walla.
I you know, it's funny. It's always tricky with this stuff. You're like, you're doing a plug. I might just, it's hot. It's hot. Oh, man. Uh-oh. Hey? Damn. Oh, this is the best. I mean, very juicy. Honestly, it's just cooked through. It's fantastic.
You hit the bullseye?
Yeah, this is a bullseye. And I'll tell you, I did make this the other day. Yesterday I was experimenting. I put them on the grill. I put it on my pellet grill, my Traeger. It's pretty good. But this cast iron grill pan, the way to go. I promise you, this is spot on. You really can't go wrong with this. It's best.
Awesome.
All right. Killer, Ollie. Well, cool. I guess we're ready to wrap up this episode.
Chicken tikka.
Chicken tikka. With Ali.
Make it.
What a presentation you just did for us. Holy crap.
Make it, man. It is freaking heck yeah. Ooh. You know what? In your face barbecue sauce chicken. I just think it up. You know? Like, all right. Killer. Excellent.
We'll see you soon, guys.
See you guys.